Now at 5, at-home COVID tests fly off the shelves of area pharmacies.
Capitol Police say they're better prepared for any threat on the U.S. Capitol compared to this time last year. I'm Skylar Henry with more on the improvements ahead of the one-year anniversary of the January 6th attack.
And physical rehab for rock climbers.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Kansas reports a record 7-day average for new confirmed and probable COVID-19 cases. This is KOAM News at 5. State Health Department data shows Kansas reported an average of 3,134 new COVID-19 cases per day for the 7 days ending yesterday. That's 13% higher than the previous record set in mid-November of 2020. At the University of Kansas Hospital, Chief Medical Officer Steve Stites says more than 500 of the more than 13,000 employees are sick or awaiting test results. At-home rapid COVID-19 tests are flying off the shelves at a pharmacy here in the 4 states. If you've tried to find an at-home test, you might have to wait a bit, according to Adam Fletcher at Prater's Pharmacy in Webb City. Fletcher tells us their primary supplier of these tests has been out for months now. That shortage, combined with the spread of the Omicron variant and holiday travel, means tests that are available, that they're able to get, those are going fast.
We typically get 5, and the ones we've had recently, when we've got 5 of them, they've gone out in the same day. We usually have numerous calls a day. It's first come, first serve, and when we get them, and then we've been out for some time now.
Amazon, CVS, and Walgreens have recently started to limit how many at-home COVID tests a customer can buy. A former employee of the Missouri House is suing for a wrongful termination after expressing concern about a COVID policy. Now, a couple of top Missouri lawmakers are expected to be deposed in that federal lawsuit. Tad Mayfield says he asked Senate President Dave Schatz and former House Speaker Elijah Har in August of 2020 to require masks in the entire state capitol building, not just among administrative staff of the House. Mayfield says he was later fired for alleged poor performance. The lawsuit comes as the legislature prepares to convene its 2022 session tomorrow with few COVID-19 safety measures in place. The Carthage School Board approves a plan aimed at hiring more substitute teachers. The district is hiring up to 12 full-time substitutes who will be available when the district needs them, and the district's making substitute pay consistent across the district. Under the plan, retired teachers and paraprofessionals would see a pay increase of $20 per day of substitute teaching. The plan also adds incentives for substitutes who work long-term in the classroom. The shortage of substitute teachers has become worse during the pandemic.
COVID has made the matter more obvious, and we've always had problems finding subs, but COVID has kind of taken away maybe some of the veterans who would come and sub for us, and just the idea that being around a bunch of kids might make them a little nervous, but hopefully this will allow us an opportunity to bring some people back.
Retired support staff, custodians, and food service workers will also see a pay increase for filling in those positions as a substitute. Checking in with Nick Kelly now for a first look at the weather.
Another bright day overall, Dow. Despite cloud cover coming and going, we're going back to a temporary period of partly to mostly sunny skies with our live look from 7th and Range Line. Again, not much to worry about throughout the course of the day, just passing cloud cover working from west to east. But that south wind really cranked into gear today ahead of our approaching cold front, a Canadian cold front that once it slides through overnight, we will start to turn quite a bit colder as we go into tomorrow and throughout the rest of the middle of the week. Right now, though, can't complain. Upper 40s to near 50 all across the board, but that southwest wind is up there, 15 to 25. We got some gusts near 40 at times, but that northwest wind you see kicking in northwestern Kansas, that's the cold front on the way in. So we'll go from temperatures in the mid 40s by 6, 38 by midnight to lows in the 20s across the region. We are set for a couple of cold days ahead of us, Dow, setting the stage for maybe some snow chances pretty soon. We'll break down the forecast here in a bit.
See you then. Thursday will be the first anniversary of the January 6th assault on our Capitol. Today, the head of the Capitol Police unveiled the improvements his force has made in the year since the attack. Reporter Skylar Henry has more details from Capitol Hill.
The U.S. Capitol Police say they are better prepared to handle an attack on the Capitol today than they were 1 year ago.
The department began significant work immediately after the 6th to fix the failures that occurred: intelligence failures, operational planning failures, leadership failures.
The attack on the U.S. Capitol exposed flaws in the security system. Since then, there have been more than a dozen reports with more than 100 recommendations on how to better protect the building and lawmakers.
Intelligence, operational planning, and getting our civil disturbance unit up to where it needs to be were the three biggest issues, and those are the ones that we worked on first, and those are the ones that, frankly, are largely completed.
Capitol Police say they are preparing for the one-year anniversary of the January 6th assault, but as of now, there are no credible threats suggesting that another attack is imminent.
We're aware of several events that are planned for Thursday. Most of them aren't of much concern to us.
But in the aftermath of the attack, Capitol Police have investigated a record number of threats made against lawmakers.
When we say threats, it's basically a concerning statement that we need to look into. Some of them do rise to the level of a crime. We investigate it as a crime, and there are cases where we make arrests and there's prosecution.
Law enforcement have also arrested more than 700 people who took part in last year's January 6th assault and are still looking for several hundred more. Skyler Henry, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
The chief of the U.S. Capitol Police is prepared to testify before Congress tomorrow. In his prepared remarks, he says some of the officers who protected the Capitol last year still carry the emotional scars from that day. More than 130 officers have retired or resigned since last January, and the Capitol Police have had problems recruiting replacements, meaning they're down about 400 officers as we hit this first anniversary. A jury has convicted biotech company founder Elizabeth Holmes of duping investors. She told investors her startup, Theranos, could find abnormalities in tiny blood samples. Jurors convicted her on 4 counts of fraud and conspiracy. She now faces up to 20 years in prison for each count, although legal experts say she's unlikely to receive the maximum sentence. Still ahead, the president doubles the U.S. government's order of a COVID-19 treatment and rehab designed for rock climbers. Those stories next in Health Watch. Topping today's Health Watch, President Biden announces the government is doubling its purchase of Pfizer's COVID-19 treatment pill. The government is ordering 20 million treatment courses of the antiviral pill. The president says the first batch the government received shipped out on Christmas Eve, and 10 million treatment courses will be delivered by June. The president also pressed people to get vaccinated and boosted as the Omicron variant drives an unprecedented surge in cases. A study in molecular psychiatry identifies a biomarker for depression. It can be found through a blood test, which researchers hope they can then use to determine if antidepressant drug therapies are working. Almost 10 million people lead, fist jam, and free solo their way to the top of rocks, boulders, and mountains. Rock climbing is seeing a surge in popularity, inspired by both an increased number of indoor gyms and young people searching for an extreme sport to challenge their bodies and minds. Rock climbing even debuted in last summer's Olympic Games, but with any sport comes injuries, and now rock climbing has its own rehab. Chase James climbs 2 to 3 times a week, putting his entire body weight on his fingertips and toes.
Just this part of my finger is on the rock.
But with this unique sport comes unique injuries.
All of a sudden, just bam, heard a pop, and I knew that I had popped a tendon in my hand.
That's one of the most common injuries for climbers. Fellow climber and physical therapist Jason Hooper is using new therapies to get climbers back out on the rock wall faster.
The rehab process traditionally can be a little too one-dimensional and not hit on the extreme levels of training that a climber might need.
This harness with pneumatic pressure allows injured climbers to mimic finger positions of climbers without their full body weight.
And with the push of a button, now I've just taken 30 pounds off. So then when they go and they hold on to that, that's actually going to obviously make them more weightless, and it's going to take away that injury risk.
Another machine measures a person's strength in a single joint and tracks improvement.
Backwards.
Chase spent 3 months rehabbing his fingers, strengthening his hands, and perfecting his form at home. Now he's back at it.
This is a portable hangboard, and it allows you to warm up your fingers before you climb.
Making sure he takes time to warm up before heading up another wall. We've seen how risky it is, but rock climbing is a great form of exercise. A study in the British Journal of Sports Medicine found that rock climbing is as good for cardio as running an 8-minute mile. And experts say it can be an effective treatment for anxiety and depression. This is due to a heightened sense of self-esteem, accomplishment, and feeling of self-control. And that is a look at today's health news. Later, the East Coast snowstorm and a big crash shut down an interstate.
But first, we don't have a big snowstorm on the way, but chances for snow do want to sneak into the forecast. We'll break that down when we come back. Even with a lot of cloud cover back in play, that did not stop temperatures from warming back up above normal today. In fact, some of us pushing into the lower 50s this afternoon, but we're getting a little bit of a break in the cloud cover right now with our live look from Indigo Sky Casino and Resort outside of Seneca, Missouri. So let's break down the numbers, because before we get into yet another cold snap ready to work in tomorrow, we enjoyed highs around 51 at Joplin Regional today, warmer than the normal high of 44. But look at tomorrow. We dip back into the upper 30s for highs, and we're going to stay cold for the next few days before we try to warm back up as we head toward the coming weekend. For now, though, again, the live look from 7th and Rangeline this time around showing at least a little break in the cloud cover. 49 degrees with the south wind at 23, gusting to 31. That's actually making it feel like 42 degrees outside. And that's the same story across the entire region. Upper 40s to near 50 across much of the area. More lower 50s possible and more probable as you continue to work west of US 59. But the wind is giving a bit of a chill for some. Lower 40s for areas around Stockton Lake, but most of us feeling like it's the mid to upper 40s right now. But that is due to a south wind that was sustained throughout the day, 15 to 25, gusts near 40, ahead of our approaching cold front. And you can see how colder it is behind that front, and that is ready to work in as we head toward tomorrow morning. So you can see how we'll drop through the 40s, down to the upper 30s by midnight, but eventually we're going to drop back into the lower to middle 20s to start our Wednesday morning out. But at the very least, even with more cloud cover developing and the cloud cover passing through, there's not enough moisture to result in any rain or snow, and certainly not with the passing cold front as it works through tonight. However, an upper low, as expected, is developing across northern parts of Montana. That's the wave that'll come near us by Thursday. That's going to pull in enough moisture to bring some snow chances into the forecast, but not for tonight. We'll keep things quiet with cloud cover trying to build back in. Otherwise, that cold front drops us back into the 20s to start your Wednesday morning out. We'll continue with partly sunny skies throughout the day, but you can tell how much of a difference that cold front will make with our afternoon temperatures. 26 in the morning, 33 by noon. The breeze is lighter tomorrow, but that northwest breeze means we'll only top out around 37 for your Wednesday afternoon. We're quiet Wednesday night, but mostly cloudy skies really take hold as that wave works in. And here comes enough moisture to result in some scattered snow showers, mainly for the northern half of the viewing area. Fortunately, it's only for Thursday morning. We'll start to clear things out as we go into Thursday afternoon, but staying definitely cold for Thursday afternoon. Early amounts indicating how much snow we could see, still not looking very impressive. Most of us around a dusting to an inch, but there are some spots along and north of US 54 where we could see potential amounts close to an inch. Still minor, still something we'll watch as we go through the next few days. Another thing that cold front does, highs around 23 Thursday, 14 for Friday morning. But we'll start the weekend out on a dry note, at least closer to 40 by Friday with highs around 38. 52 on Saturday, then back to 36 on Sunday. That's because now another front on the way in will give us another cold snap and some possible rain chances too.
Yeah, those overnight lows really cold.
You want to bundle up for that for sure.
Thanks, Nick. Cleanup is underway along the Mid-Atlantic's busy I-95 corridor. Hundreds of people were stuck overnight in below freezing temperatures. Many posted on social media saying they're running out of food, fuel, and water. The busy interstate was shut in both directions because of a crash involving 6 tractor trailers during one of the biggest snowstorms to hit that region in years. In Townsend, Tennessee, heavy snow brought down a tree that fell into a home, killing a 7-year-old girl in her bedroom. The rest of the family was unhurt. Coming up, the latest numbers on the Great Resignation. First, though, we honor a local veteran who served in both World War II and the Korean War. R.E. Jeff Davis was stationed in Germany, Korea, and the Aleutian Islands with the U.S. Army Infantry Unit, his hometown, Joplin. And we're proud to salute First Sergeant R.E. Jeff Davis, a four-state hero. Topping today's Consumer Watch, the final 2021 report on a monthly survey of business leaders in 9 Midwest and Plain states shows the region's economy continues to improve going into the new year, with confidence in the economy over the next 6 months soaring. The overall index for December of the Creighton University Mid-America Business Conditions, released this week, grew to 64.6 from November's 60.2. Any score above 50 on the survey's indexes suggests growth. The monthly survey covers Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and 5 other states. The Great Resignation continues. A record number of people are leaving their jobs as companies struggle to hire workers. Michael George reports.
I quit my job in February of 2021.
Last year, Gabby Iannello decided a corporate job in real estate wasn't for her, and she wanted to try something new.
You know, with the world changing, it put a lot of perspective of like, life is short, so I might as well try now while I don't have kids, I don't have a mortgage.
The experience of resigning led to her own company called Corporate Quitter, where she offers podcasts and consulting, and more people are joining her. The Labor Department says 4.5 million Americans quit their jobs in November, a new record. Many of those resignations are coming in the restaurant industry, trucking, and healthcare.
People don't want to always settle for the same thing that they might have settled for in employment in the past. Now we know that many jobs can be done remotely. Now we know that there can be a higher degree of flexibility.
Bankrate economist Mark Hamrick says people are quitting in the middle of a worker shortage. There are 10.6 million job openings in the U.S., according to the Labor Department.
The challenge for 2022 is going to be matching the supply and demand for workers.
Any advice for people who are really close to doing what you did? They're thinking about it.
Experiment before you actually take the leap. You're never going to know what you like or if you're even cut out for it until you actually try.
Iannello says her leap is leading to success in business and in life. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Ford is doubling down on its commitment to electric vehicles. The company plans to nearly double annual production of its red-hot F-150 Lightning electric pickup to 150,000 vehicles. Nearly 200,000 of the pickups have already been reserved ahead of the release this spring. If you have an old BlackBerry stashed away somewhere, it might not work any longer. Today marks the last day of services and software for the old phone. That includes data, text messages, and phone calls. BlackBerry Android devices will still work unless they redirect email to a BlackBerry address. It's the return of perhaps the greatest gift of all time, a restaurant gift card. According to new sales data from Paytronix Systems, restaurant gift card sales bounced back by 43% this past holiday season compared to the year before. And the average gift card value went up to a little more than $35. A final check of the forecast next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, President Biden says schools should remain open despite record numbers of pediatric COVID cases. Then on KOAM News at 6, more on the shortage of at-home COVID tests in the area. Plus, a woman who pled guilty to an assault in Grove, Oklahoma is now out there somewhere and on the state's most wanted list. And we hear from Patrick Mahomes as the Chiefs prepare to take on the Broncos this weekend. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. It's more chilly weather ahead of us, Nick.
Yeah, in fact, it's arriving tonight, especially as we drop back into the 20s with our next cold front on the way in from the north. And after that, sweeps on through. We'll only make it to 37 tomorrow, and a wave coming at us for Thursday could give us some snow chances during the morning, but Thursday's high only 23 before we'll start to warm back up Friday.
Thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next, and of course, we're going to be right back here for KOAM News at 6. See you then. Let's make it a great evening.